Hey guys, Max here with Flatline Van Co. Today we got a super cool build that we just finished up. Let's go take a look. All right, so we have a 144 all-wheel drive that we just finished up. Really cool build. Starting off in the front here, we have the AFN PreRunner bumper. Really cool bumper. We have the Warn Evo 12S winch in here. Big fan of these things. They're kind of just coming out. These pop open so you can get to your winch controls. Ton of coverage, ton of protection. Side skid plates to cover up both corners, as well as the def tank, and then a full engine and transmission skid plate that goes all the way back. So lots of protection. Big hoop right here. So if you wanted to mount more lights, you could, but you don't really need to. Fog lights tie into the factory fog lights, and then we have some nice running lights on the side right here. Really clean look. It does utilize a little bit of the factory bumper, but overall it's kind of a full replacement. All right, as far as suspension goes, we have the full Evictus kit. Now, if you guys been looking into suspension for your van, Evictus is the best, to be honest. I mean, nothing really compares. This thing drives so well. These shocks adapt very well. We also added the front transverse leaf by Evictus, so we have a bit of height here in the front, adds about an inch, inch and a half. It will settle a little bit over time, but with this heavy bumper and the winch and everything else, it really makes a big difference changing out that fiberglass leaf for the aftermarket Evictus one. As far as wheels and tires go, we have the Alvance Talons. These have the dual valve stems, so we have the factory TPMS sensors, and then we also have the Apex deflate valves, which is really nice, especially on a van like this that we have built-in air compressor. You can deflate super easy, fill them up really easy. For tires, we're running the Falcon Wild Peak 265 70/17. Honestly, this is a really good all-around size. Any larger than this, and you gotta cut and trim and sometimes adapt the cruise control and do different things. This is a good size. We did have to space the front off a little bit, so we have some Alvance spacer with the stud conversion. But overall, this van rides amazing. All right, up top here, we have the Flatline Van Co roof rack. I'm a big fan of this roof rack. It looks really good, and depending on what configuration you have, it really works for everything. So this customer, this is a passenger van. We have a factory AC. There's a newer all-wheel drive, so it's the larger factory AC. And it's still, you can utilize this whole rack. On this Flatline roof rack, we have 6 LP9s up here, which mount really well. It's the Safari rack, so we have the nice hoop that drops down. So we have the 4 clears and then the 2 ambers. They look really good. You know, can never go wrong with LP9s. They're super bright, they look good. The backlight looks awesome. Just a great option. We also have walking panels. So besides from this giant factory AC, we have a good bit of space up here. To be honest, you could put a tripod, you could put a couple of chairs. It's a super solid deck because we have 80/20 crossbars spanning across, so really solid. It doesn't have any like dipping points. And then still in the back here, we have one more small panel, which is nice because we have the Flatline Van Co side ladder, and then we also have the Alvance ladder tire carrier. Some people think it's overkill, but to be honest, if you're loading kayaks, if you're loading heavy gear up there, it is nice to have 2 ladders, especially because in this case where we have a giant factory AC, it'd be really difficult to like kind of jump to the back to get to that platform. So on the back there, you could load that thing up with max tracks, different gear. The cool thing about these platform decks is on the sides, they have spots for the L-Track D-rings. So you can easily clamp on some L-Track D-rings and then strap your gear down. You don't have to drill any holes on this. We have a bunch of them throughout the whole rack. So very thoughtful rack. Very, you know, they did a good job thinking through all different types of use cases. Ugh. Moving around the back here, we have the Agency 6 storage boxes, which look really good and function really well. You get some dead space and turn it into some storage that you can fit your electrical cords, your hoses, things like that. Recovery gear is great in these. Backside here, we have the Backwoods rear bumper, which is a direct replacement bumper. These things look really good. We have the Pathfinder lights on the back, which are hooked up to the Switch Pro, uses the factory parking sensors. And then for storage back here, we have the Owlvan's B2 holding a mini monster box, and then we have the ladder tire carrier holding the spare. Nice thing about the mini monster box is you get a ton of storage, but you can still run bike tubes if you want. You can still run one-ups. You could still run a few other things, a smaller box if you wanted to. But you know, the advantage of going the mini monster instead of the large monster is you get a lot more use out of this B2 if you want. On the inside here, we installed a Switch Pro 8-shooter. Now, this is gonna control all of those LP9s. It's gonna control the air system. It's gonna control the rear lights. We still have 2 extra switches in here if the customer wants to add some more lights or different functions in the future. We also did a Navidock right here to kind of keep all your gear organized, phone mounts, iPad mounts, GPS mounts, things like that, as well as the Terra X charge groove. So when you're running wires to the back right here, you don't have to try to slam this thing on there. A couple other cool add-ons we did is the S&B replacement fuel tank, as well as the Van Compass skid plate that matches up with that for some added protection. We also added an ARB compressor up underneath the hood with the Van Compass kit for that, which is really nice. So we got some really nice air chucks on the backside there, as well as one air chuck underneath the hood. All right, that really wraps up this quick build. Really excited with how this thing turned out. Excited to get it back over to the customer, get him back on the road. If you're looking to get your van built like this, reach out to us at freedomvango.com, or if you're just looking for some parts, vanpartswarehouse.com. I'm Max, let's upgrade your adventure.